Eagles. Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to a Tuesday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, Johnny Mack, John McMullen, wrapping up day number 10 of the Philadelphia Eagles on the practice field for training camp, the last practice of the week that will be open to reporters before the game on Thursday night. The Bengals, Johnny Mack, the Birds will take on Thursday evening. How you doing on this Tuesday evening, Johnny Mack?
Doing well. Yeah. Almost to the preseason opener. Ooh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
But last practice before then, bit of a grind, 3 practices in a row. Scaled it back a little bit. Patches, helmets, and everybody in shorts for the most part. But still pretty competitive. Still a lot of red zone stuff. Eagles are basically installed now on both sides of the football. So I think they finished up on what day is today? Tuesday, Monday. They did the backed up stuff and the 4-minute offense. So everything's installed and on we go. Cincinnati, Cleveland coming in. By the way, it was supposed to be one practice, it's now 2 joint practices. So that should be exciting.
Wait, for next week?
Yeah. 2 joint practices against the Cleveland Browns.
Nice.
So you get to see a lot of crappy quarterback play, not from the Eagles. I was upset, but
at least you get to see Myles Garrett. You always say he's a fun practice.
Oh, yeah, man. Love it. David Njoku too, man. They're bus players. They're the guys you tell them to get off the bus first, and the opponents say, "Oh shit," because those dudes are impressive. But
I've never heard that. Bus players get them off first to intimidate, mental warfare, Johnny Mack, intimidate your opponent.
Yep. Yeah, that's an old football trick, more of an high school level, but yeah, you let them come off the bus first. And
yeah, right. Good stuff there. Johnny Mack, before we dive into day number 10 today, what the Birds did on the practice field. They made a move last night, Johnny Mack. Howie Roseman never sleeps. I think like 9:30, 10 o'clock, sometime around there last night. The trade broke that the Philadelphia Eagles have sent defensive tackle Thomas Booker to the Vegas Raiders and brought in cornerback Jakorian Bennett. J-Mac, we spoke about it briefly this morning, but we'll dive right back into it for the Birds 365 crowd tonight. Your first reaction, John, to the Eagles making a late-night trade for a cornerback. He was drafted in 23. He's 5'11", 195. He's a speedy player. He's got experience outside. He played some inside nickel in college. So kind of a versatile player, but drafted the same year as Keely Ringo, 1 spot ahead of Ringo. Significant more playing time than Ringo at this point in his career. Your first thoughts, Johnny Mack, on the trade for Jakorian Bennett?
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, I think the thing that stands out is the athleticism. Ran a 4.3 coming out, had a 40.5-inch vertical. So, you start to look back and we'll talk to Howie at some point, but you start to look back and the Eagles traded up for Keely Ringo in that draft, and you say, well, because they went up pretty far to get Keely in the 4th round,
right?
And maybe they wanted this guy,
yeah, right.
And when he came off the board, they made the move. Who knows? But it is ironic that it was picked 104 and Keely went 105 when the Eagles moved up. So, but yeah, we're in a wait and see mode. He was there today, he was on the practice field, not in uniform. He's going to be wearing 49 to start. I don't think he'll stay there because I do think he's going to make the team. And he'll change numbers when you get down to the 53. But, I think it's a worthy roll of the dice, start, throw, and you add him to – now you have Keely Ringo as a young player. You have Jakorian Bennett. You have Eli Ricks, and you start to think, well, if you need one, you don't got to bat 1,000. You need 1 of 3 really to hit. And and that gives you better options. And then you have Adoree Jackson as the insurance policy, which he remains. But, I don't – if you're being honest, actions speak louder than words. There's a clear indication they were not happy with the way the competition was going. And, if those guys, one of those two guys had played a little bit better in Vic's mind, they probably wouldn't have made this deal. But we are where we are.
Yeah, we'll see what Jakorian Bennett can do for this team. John, where do you have him? Where do you think he would be right now? Is he third in that battle right there?
Well, he hasn't stepped on the practice field, so they'll get him up to speed as quickly as possible. He'll start behind Ricks, I imagine. So, but he'll work his way up quickly, I think. And again, not everything's about week 1. I say it all the time. It might be week 3, it might be week 5, it might be week 6, might be second half of the season. I do think this is not, if you go back, sometimes Howie makes August trades, and I remember Eli Harold coming in back in the day and he's cut, and sometimes you're just giving guys change of sceneries and seeing if something clicks. I don't think that's what's going on here. I think this is a player that they want to be involved. How quickly they can get him involved is the issue, because he's coming in late. It's not terribly late. It's not CJ Gardner-Johnson late, and there's some time to get him ramped up, but we all know how much Vic values practice time, and until he gets in here and until he starts competing, it's hard to project where he's going to be in a competition he hasn't even started to get in.
Any idea whether Vic would have, or any thought process on you? I did think it was somewhat interesting, John, 1 week ago, or around 1 week ago, last week, Vic brought up Adoree Jackson being a Howie guy, basically. And now a week later, they trade for another cornerback. Now, I'm not under the impression that Vic Fangio had anything to do with the trade for Jakorian Bennett. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. How do you see that? And do you tie those two together at all and think about anything that might be brewing between the front office and Vic Fangio potentially?
No, I mean, Vic's got a long rope coming off last season. Everybody knows Vic's gonna go off the script occasionally, which most of the other coaches aren't going to do, to say the least. But it's part of the price you pay for having the best defensive coordinator in football. And again, I said it this morning, but I want to say it again because I don't like that narrative. Vic said, and I'll pull it up. No, I didn't watch a whole lot of tape on him, talking about Adoree Jackson. Howie wanted to sign him. And when Howie wants to sign somebody, it doesn't matter what I say. So we just took him in. That's what he said.
Well, that's not particularly a glowing endorsement.
No, it's not an endorsement, but it's not him saying, and what I tried to explain earlier on the morning show as well. Everybody's a Howie Roseman guy. Vic doesn't pick players. Nick doesn't pick players. Now they collaborate, and Howie's smart enough to understand that, if you get a bunch of players that the coaches don't like, it's not going to work out well. But nobody's declaring to Howie Roseman who to take or who to do that. And I said the last, and even then he took him. It's his responsibility, but he points back to the Jalen Reagor pick, and the coaching staff wanted Jalen Reagor, the personnel staff wanted Justin Jefferson, and he gave the coaching staff what they wanted, and he got a lot of shit for it. And that was he said, hey, if I'm going to get the shit, I'm going to make the decision. And sometimes it doesn't perfectly align with what a coach may want, but long term, you're usually on the same page. You can go back to Milton Williams and Alim McNeil with Tom Donahue as well. Howie and both of those guys turned into really good players, but Tom wanted a limb and how he made a decision.
Yeah, I think it should be that way. By the way, there has to be an order of there has to be a hierarchy and an order of operations that things follow. I got no issue with that.
Yeah. So I mean,
I'm just wondering because Vic threw that out there, to think how he called him in and said, "Yo, do we need to get somebody?" Like I thought you maybe liked the door, Jack. I don't know. I mean, a week later,
well, and again, I think that was 2 weeks ago. I mean, Vic spoke yesterday and said some nice things about it.
Yeah, but was that cleanup? Even from Vic, it felt like cleanup. And you don't expect Vic to do a whole lot of cleanup.
Well, that's what I mean. He generally doesn't lie. I mean, I don't.
I don't think he was lying, but I think he was
he got more first team reps again today. I mean, if the opener against Dallas was tomorrow, I think Adoree Jackson would be the starter. So I don't think he was lying. Said to the point, that what Vic was asked a question, and that's part of it too. I think that gets lost. You get asked a question and you answer the question. Well, some people do, some people don't, obviously. And the question was, what did he look like on film a year ago? And then he eventually gets benched. But did you chop that up more, whatever the hell that means, as a team wanting to look at younger players or blah, blah, blah. Anyway, come on, Brookie. You got to clean that up. But basically was asked, what did you see? What did you look at the film a year ago when Adoree's with the Giants? And he said, no, I didn't watch a lot of tape on him. He answered the question. And then he went into, which he probably shouldn't have said, to be honest.
Which may be where the cleanup had to come.
How we wanted to sign him and then blah, blah, blah. But then, no, that's what I'm saying. Yesterday, when he was speaking about him, right now, is he happy with either of them? I would say no. But again, if they had to play the Cowboys tomorrow, Adoree would be playing. I'm pretty confident of that. I don't think he's won the job, but again, it's a lot of time. But right now he's ahead. First team reps. And I paid a lot of attention to first team reps today. It's about 60-40-ish. Adoree. So, he's not the kind of guy who's going to spite himself to do cleanup. I'll tell you that. So do I think he likes either of them? Probably not right now. But of the two, I think he would start Adoree Jackson today. And he did start, ironically, Adoree Jackson in practice. So he got the first rep today, so it's 6-4. But he also got more overall first team reps. But I mean, clearly, when you bring in somebody who's got an upside to potentially be a contributor, you're probably not happy with what's going on.
John, which of these statements do you think holds a higher degree of truth or is more truthful? The Raiders wanted Thomas Booker and were willing to give up Jakorian Bennett, or the Eagles wanted Jakorian Bennett and were willing to give up Thomas Booker?
Well, I think both, from the standpoint of Pete Carroll likes big corners. Think Richard Sherman, think cover 3, think right. Seattle, think the Legion of Boom. So he wants bigger outside corners. And he obviously what's going on with Christian Wilkins. And the Eagles don't think there's that much difference from Thomas Booker to Gabe Hall to Byron Young to Ty Robinson. So they felt like they had, even though he, again, if it were tomorrow and the Eagles still had Booker, he'd be ahead of those guys, but just slightly. And they feel good with their depth. And it's one of those win-win trades. And a lot of it has to do with, probably, John Spytek, who used to work here with Howie, is the GM. Brandon Hunt is there. Anthony Patch is there. They both left this offseason for the Raiders. So there's tremendous trust between those two front offices.
Which matters. I don't think people put enough stock in that. You got to, in order to do a trade, you want trust is, I would say, a big part of being able to work with another front office.
So I don't think, remember, Pete Carroll wasn't there, so he didn't draft, or he wasn't involved with the drafting of Jakorian Bennett. So I don't think he was a fit for them. And the Eagles liked him, and the Eagles felt they had enough depth at defensive tackle to give up a decent player to get a decent player, is basically what happened.
Yeah, so good stuff. They clearly, I would say, John, there was at least some level of optimism I think people can take from this, that the Eagles feel pretty good about the defensive tackle room. I would say top to bottom. I know you mentioned Gabe Hall and, maybe even Ty Robinson, but I think it shows that maybe they're more confident in the progression of Jordan Davis and also what Moro Ojomo can be. Is that fair to say?
Well, yeah, that's the top three. The top three is they're not concerned about.
Yeah, but there is an element of newness to it. So if they're not confident in Moro Ojomo, why are you going to move on from the guy who's right on his heels, who at the very least is a competent football player, versus Gabe Hall, who might be good, but is a little bit more unknown?
Well, Thomas wasn't pushing the top three. He
was
leading the bottom four.
Right, but if you didn't feel confident in Moro Ojomo, you think you would still make this move?
Yeah, I don't think it has anything. First of all, I don't know. Nobody said they don't have confidence in Moro. They're very excited about Moro Ojomo. He's not.
No, I was saying he's
in the top three, and again, Thomas Booker wasn't pushing that top group. That top group is by themselves. And then I think a lot of people had Ty Robinson sort of penciled in. Maybe it still ends up that way. But I think Booker was playing better, probably Byron Young, but Byron got hurt with a little bit of a groin, so that'll hurt him. And Gabe Hall's had a pretty good summer as well. So I think they look at that bottom four and they say, well, yeah, Booker's the best, but it's not that drastic a difference between what they'll be able to get, and they won't keep them all, but what they'll be able to get from those guys, and they'll try to keep them all on the practice squad if they can.
I still feel like there's got to be a level of confidence, though, and which I know that they had, but my point was, does it show even bigger level of confidence? Because if they had tremendous confidence
and felt defensive tackle was their deepest position, which is why they're trading from it.
Yeah, right. Okay, so Booker is out, John. Jakorian Bennett is in. Is it time, John, for fans to start to get a little nervous that Keely Ringo is not going to be the guy, John? They're trading for a cornerback at this stage. It's year 3 for Ringo. We were all hoping he came in and kind of seized the job. He's going back and forth with Adoree Jackson, and then boom, 2 days before the first preseason game, they're trading Thomas Booker to bring in another cornerback that was drafted the same year as him, one spot ahead of him. Is it time to start to question and wonder about what Ringo can be, John, for this football team?
Yeah, well, yeah, I think it's fair. It's the shed or get off the pot year for Keely. He's going to be here, but if he's going to be here, it's just a gunner. He's going to probably play out his rookie contract, and that'll be it. But so this is the year he's got to come through. Still got time. Still probably more gifted than, even though this guy got picked one step before. Keely's got better size. He's better in run support. Doesn't have quite the vertical, but just as fast at so hot at such a bigger guy. And then Adoree, who, back in the day was a first round pick, obviously, but he's older, not the player he once was. So, this was the year that he could have seized the position, by the way, he almost had a pick 6 today. That would have changed the narrative. Probably not with Vic, but it would have, for the people in attendance, it would have changed the narrative.
Right.
And he dropped it, unfortunately. But yeah, he's got to play better, and I think this is, not only is it an attempt at that dart, it's also an attempt to light something under him as well, I think.
Right. I said that. Pressure, man. Give competition. Now you got 2 guys with 2 years left that are both fighting for a second contract. I think that's a good part.
Yeah, and that's when I asked, there's a lot of lobbying back and forth, and Nick getting asked questions about, and Nick's very good now these days about filibustering and changing things in the direction he wants. So I said, bleep this, I'm going to ask him, what does this say? And I said, what does this say about Adoree and Kaylee? And he went to the competition card, and making people better. So, I mean, obviously he's here because they're not happy. He's not here. If they're happy, why are they trading for a corner?
Right. That's the simple answer. Occam's razor, right? Isn't that what it's called? Simple. Yeah. The simplest answer is sometimes the best one. All right. Well, we'll see what happens. We're going to dive back into that in hour number 2. We'll kind of break down where that position is, who we project, and then what it might look like moving forward. John, let's get into the practice today. You mentioned Nick Sirianni spoke. They got the preseason game on Thursday. Before we get into on the field, one thing that Nick said, asked about the starters, and I think somebody said, Vic mentioned he wanted to get some of his guys out there, and Nick was like, "Yeah, me and Howie will meet and make the decision." I don't know if you made anything of that. Is there nothing to make of that? I feel like Vic is one of those guys that wants a say, and this is not the organization you're going to get much of a say on any of those things.
No, I think like I constantly say, I think people think Vic has more power than he has.
DC, that's it, right? I mean, you're the defensive coordinator.
I mean, he's in charge of the defensive scheme and the defensive players and game day. Who's going to get the playing time and all that. That's his purview. He's not involved in personnel and game decisions, and guys who are going to play, especially in the preseason, are Nick and Howie, because it's got more to do with health and safety, whatever dogma than actual playing time. But while I say that, if you go back to last year, there are things they practice a little bit more. If you listen to a Vic Fangio press conference, there is always a passive aggressive comment about not practicing enough. Every single one of them, he throws it in there. Yesterday was about Jihad Campbell. We're throwing a lot at him. It's probably not fair because we don't practice enough. Every single press conference.
Do you think that'll wear down the Eagles organization a little bit? I mean, they've kind
not
of
as long as he continues to perform at the level he performed at. Eventually, yeah. If you're got the 20th ranked defense,
yeah, right. Your rope shortens quick.
Yeah. Well, now you're seeing some of the stuff like, why is Miami? Why are they upset? Why that? Blah blah blah. You're seeing, you see some of the stuff. I love the guy. I think it's great, but you can see how people would be rubbed the wrong way. And if you're rubbed the wrong way when you're losing, things can fall apart pretty quickly. But I don't think you have to worry about anything until the Eagles are losing, and there's no evidence that's going to happen anytime soon. So, and by the way, I think they will let him have what he wants because there's legitimate competitions on the defensive side of the ball, and I think they know, Nick and Howie, that Kaylee's got to play, and Sydney's got to play, and Adoree's got to play, and Makuba's got to play. I don't know if he's going to play in this game, but he was back at practice in a limited fashion, so that was a positive sign. So was Mac McWilliams. So they might hold those guys out because of the injuries, but the guys competing and the younger players, they have to play. And I think they'll be on board with Vic when it comes to that.
Good stuff there, Johnny Mac. John, let's go on to the football field today, brother. Day number 10, the final practice open to the media before that first preseason game. I believe they'll have a walkthrough tomorrow and then obviously game day on Thursday. Are they off Friday and then back on the weekend? How's the weekend schedule work after a Thursday preseason game?
Yeah, Friday, day after a game, they're always off. Saturday, they're back on the practice field. Sunday is the open practice at Lincoln Financial Field. So that's a night practice. And then I haven't looked ahead that far. I think they have Monday off, and I think they're back Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Wednesday, Thursday, joint practices against Cleveland. There's no time set for them because they're still working out with the Browns.
I think that's a Saturday preseason game, right? Like a 1 o'clock. It's like 1 o'clock.
Good. 1 o'clock preseason game is gold.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're gonna have a night game against the freaking Cincinnati Bengals in a preseason, and then a night game against the New York Jets up there.
Oh man.
Talk about a freaking disaster.
Are you bailing out on that Jets game? It wouldn't surprise me if you did. Fucking A. Jets.
Yeah, I'm going because you hate to miss shit.
Yeah.
But it's hey, I remember being up there when Corey Clement made the team and then turned into a Super Bowl hero. So guys can make the team in that final game, but obviously you're talking about 52, the 52nd spot, the 53rd spot. Most of the stuff is pretty ironed out by that point, but yeah, preseason football is tough watch. Let's all be honest. We can all be honest. It's a tough one.
It's a tough product, no doubt. I think people are just excited to see the Eagles jerseys back on the screen, which is all good. That's part of being a fan. I'm excited for that part of it as well. John, what happened on the football field today? What stuck out? First couple things that come to mind when I say that about day 10 of practice today at the NovaCare Complex.
Yeah, I mentioned, Kaylee dropping a pick six. Cooper got an interception today in the end zone. Eagles were working their blitz package, so especially in the red zone. So you saw a couple of nice blitzes from Trotter and Small Munden. Jalen got the interception. He threw it off his back foot. Where's a big blitz coming at him. And it was to Dallas Goedert, sort of a corner route, and Dallas kind of broke it off, and he just sailed it over his head, and Cooper was playing center field. So he had an interception. A lot of good stuff for the offense, too. Jahan Dotson had a crossing route for a touchdown, deep crossing route on Cooper as well for a touchdown. So that was good. They ran the same in red zone. They ran the same route to Will Shipley twice in a row. Little sort of just flare out to with Tanner McKee rolling out, and he got like 7 yards down to 3, and then they ran the exact same play and got a touchdown. I like that because too often coaches try to outthink themselves, and it's like, hey, if they can't stop it, keep running it. And they ran it on consecutive plays, and they scored a touchdown. So I thought that was interesting. Elijah Cooks and Eli Ricks have been having a nice battle. Elijah won today, man. It was a great move, almost like an open field basketball move. He sort of an in-breaking route, and then he juked outside after he caught it, and Eli was just stuck, and he scampered in for a touchdown. Great move by Elijah Cooks. So he continues to have a good camp. As I said, Makuba was back working a little bit. Mac McWilliams was back, so that's positive. Makuba's got to get back out there. So those were the
slipping from Makuba, at least early.
Well, I mean, he missed 6 practices.
That's what I mean. Sydney's clearly in that driver's seat right now.
Yeah. So he's got to get back, and he's got to get back quick, and he was back today. So I don't think he'll play in the preseason game. That's what Vic thought on Monday, but he was back there today, so that means he should be back as a full go after the game, which would be that Saturday practice. And he'll get, a lot of people get to open some eyes against Cleveland. And I think the defense is going to look pretty good because, let's be honest, I mean, they got some issues at the quarterback position. So I think the offense is the defense is going to look pretty good.
I think they said they're playing. Oh no, that was well, the Browns. The Browns are next week, but
the Browns are next week. I'm talking about the Browns. I mean, but Makuba. I was talking about Makuba, so he'll be back for those joint practices against the Browns. And you
don't like Shador, John. I think they're playing Shador in the preseason games.
Well, I don't like any of them. I don't like. I mean, Joe's probably the best option. Well, Kenny's hurt. I don't know if he's back.
Yeah, I saw that Kenny got hurt.
Dylan Gabriel, Shador Sanders. So, I mean, and Joe's knows what he's doing, obviously, but he's 100 years old, so that factors into it. But it's always fun joint practices because, and especially with some of the, like the Eagles' defensive front, I want to see them against different people from 2 different directions. I want to see, like, can Morrow continue to like Cleveland? People think they stink, but they got a pretty good offensive line. So Wyatt Teller, Joel Bitonio, they're good guards. So I want to see, is it Tyler Steen or is it not Tyler Steen? And similarly, they have okay tackles, but they're not Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata. So does the production ramp up for Jalen Hunt and Nolan Smith? That's the kind of interesting things you see when the competition changes. So I think that'll be exciting, far more exciting than the preseason game.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to see in the preseason game on Thursday, if anything, but at least we'll get a chance to see some of these guys that we've been hearing you talk about. So we could probably see Keely Ringo, Eli Ricks, Adoree Jackson. Do you think Jakorian Bennett will get out there for the preseason? No, right?
No, he didn't even practice today. They're done. They have a walkthrough. So, he'll be out there. He'll be out there Saturday, and he'll be in the joint practices as well against Cleveland next week. So that should be a big test for him. I mean, it is preseason. They could throw him out there if he's healthy, but I don't think that would do him any favors. He's got to at least learn the scheme a little bit. So I would be shocked if they put him out there. But yeah, I think those joint practices will be far more important than the preseason game, and they always are.
Yep, good stuff, John. And what else stuck out from practice today? Let's go to Jalen Hurts, QB1. You mentioned obviously some of the reps he had. It feels like, John, and I don't know, maybe I'm off based on it a little bit, but it feels like the chemistry with Jahan Dotson is showing a little bit here early in camp.
Yeah, I think that started to pick up late last year, and they're much more comfortable together this year. And I think that's a big thing for Jalen because I think, you've seen it in the past when guys get hurt, he doesn't necessarily trust the backups. But sometimes you have to, because, you got to trust who's out there, but that's easier said than done. And I think it takes a while. And I think he's now really comfortable with Jahan. So at the point where you say that, it's AJ, Devontae, Dallas, and John, I think he's comfortable with all 4, and that's a positive development.
Good stuff there, Johnny Mack, Jahan Dotson getting a little bit. Dallas Goedert as well. You mentioned him there, but he's having a good camp, man. Seems at least he's been having a good camp Dallas Goedert.
Yeah, I mean he's great. Poor Makuba got nailed again by Dallas Goedert. It's just
welcome to the NFL, Makuba. Yeah.
But
he go.
It was a red zone. I mean, that's the thing about the NFL. Jonathan Gannon used to call it tough duty. It's like sometimes you're just up against it because the other team's got somebody who's really freaking good, and somebody's got to deal with it. And the Eagles have a lot of those types of players. So, it was a red zone from about the 10-yard line, just a bullet to the back of the end zone. At the top, like at the top of Dallas Goedert's catch radius. So you can imagine, how big Dallas is and him stretching out, and he high pointed the football. And Makuba needed another foot of height, it seemed like, to do anything about it. But he did in the middle of the field, he showed up the good stuff in that he's very athletic. He's very instinctive. And Tanner McKee threw one over the middle to Conley Granson, and he just, like a bullet, broke it up. And you saw some of the athleticism. But, there's a give and take. Sometimes he's going to get just overmatched by size, and other times he's going to be able to take advantage of that athleticism.
How has your opinion of him evolved through 10 practices? I know he's been out for what, 6 of them?
Well, he hasn't, as Vic would say, he's not right. He missed 6 practices in team drills. So which is all that matters. Like, I don't care if you're limited out there doing individuals and stretching. He missed 6 practices.
But that could, listen, I'm not, obviously you didn't see him, but maybe that factors into how your opinion has evolved. Yeah, I don't think he's going to be fucking big enough to play in the NFL. That could be a part of it.
I don't think he's matched up well with Dallas Goedert, but again, that's not that big of a deal.
Dallas Goedert better than a lot of tight ends. But I wouldn't say he's like head and shoulders bigger than most tight ends in the league. He's pretty standard size tight end.
Well, yeah. All tight ends are big, but he's big and athletic. Most tight ends can't get down the field like he can get down the field. And there's a few that can, but not many. Certainly top 10.
So it'll be easier to get him down, but they might just run him.
Well, no, when you're talking about that, like that particular play made today, it was all about size. It was all about high pointing. It was all about throwing it where the D-back can't even get to it. And he snatched it out of the air. But yeah, there's not, all tight, like Nick Muse on the Eagles, backup tight end. He's the same size, but he don't move like Dallas Goedert.
Nick Muse is, most are better than Nick Muse. I don't know who's the first 4 tight ends we play. Who's Dallas's tight end? They got the Jake Ferguson guy.
Yeah, he's
and you got Kansas City. You got Kelsey. You got the Rams. They got Tyler Higbee, and then the Bucks. Who's the Bucks tight end? Cade Otton, is it? I think.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Dallas is better than
all of them, but. Maybe not Kelsey. I think at this point, probably actually better than Kelsey.
I think he is better than Kelsey. I said that on purpose.
At this point.
Now, Kelsey at his height, no, obviously. But he's not the same player he once was. So I do think he's better than him right now. But, no, I don't like, I don't like his chances against certain tight ends, George Kittle types. But, I don't like many safeties against.
Yeah, but you feel like example, ready? Cooper DeJean's not the tallest dude in the world. He's probably got an inch or two on Makuba, if that. I don't know if I worry as much about that guy stacking up from a frame standpoint as he continues to put on NFL weight. I look at that guy, I'm like, all right, yeah, he's going to be mismatched because everybody would be mismatched in that environment, but I at least feel a little better about him holding up. When I look at Makuba,
Cooper's better, basically.
Yeah, but again, is Makuba not good enough?
Well, he's practiced 4 times. I'll default to Vic. When he was asked about the safety competition, and he was bringing up everybody, and he said, for the younger guys, well, Makuba hasn't been practicing, so can't answer that. I don't. You can't. The guy that hasn't practiced, you know. So I mean, he's athletic. He's got some size issues. We're worried about. You know, can he hold up? He hurt his shoulder already. I think those are legitimate concerns. He is going to be undersized for the position. So there's going to be some deficiencies from that standpoint, but he's very athletic, and he can cover, and that's what Vic wants. So if he can get healthy and he can start practicing, he's still going to get beat every once in a while by Dallas Goedert because he's just going to body him. But
right.
Tight ends do that all the time.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, I don't want to completely rule him out, but I think some of my concern with him, John, and I don't know what you feel about this. I'll give you a chance to kind of elaborate on your thought process on it. But sometimes you see guys come in and you're like, all right, they're a little undersized, but you know, you see the frame. You're like, all right, like Jalix is a perfect example. You used to say last year, he's not his NFL body yet, but he's got the frame to fill out and be that guy. When I look at Makuba, I don't really see that. Now, it's too early for me to make a grandiose proclamation that he's never going to become that or get bigger or any of those things, but the frame looks like an issue to me. Does it look like an issue to you?
It does against Dallas, but nobody else. No. Which, you know, again, you know, I always bring up the context of who you're against. You know, the Eagles have 7 tight ends. I don't worry about them against the other 6 who are all big. They're bigger than them. But when you combine that size with athleticism, and then it becomes a problem. But those guys are not. There's not a lot of those guys. Most of them are just, you know. But yeah, you start talking about, you know, Kittles and Hawkinsons and guys and Laportas and why am I forgetting the Las Vegas Brock Bowers? I mean, he might be the best of them all now. Brock Bowers.
He's an impressive young player.
Yeah, I don't like that matchup, but you know,
that's not going to be everyone. But I mean, shit, man, there's just some big contenders there in the NFC that you just named. So we'll see. We'll see how he does. I'm hopeful for Makuba, but I don't really know what to think about him at this point. We will see. Sidney Brown. How has Sidney Brown looked, John, in his absence? Looked okay?
Yeah, I mean, Sidney's been fine. Sidney's been not a lot of mistakes, not a lot of plays. So
sounds like that's Vic coaching, right? Isn't that kind of what Vic said he wanted out of the player?
Yeah, I think it's just been steady Eddie. But you do see a difference between, you know, Reed and Sidney. As far Reed almost made a pick today. Reed's a lot more instinctive. You know, it was a 7-on-7 drill. Johnny Wilson over the middle. He just jumped it, just missed it. I don't see Sidney making those types of plays, but you know, right now he's their best option.
When do you think that Reed contract's coming?
I still think he's getting it before the start of the season. So that's usually it's usually started training camp or 2 days before the season or a day before the season starts.
Right. I still feel like they're going to give it to him, but John, if they move Cooper DeJean back and you got 2 high picks, you got a second and a third at safety. I don't know. I'm not trying to say they're going to get rid of Reed. I think they're bringing Reed back too, but you got to wonder.
Well, I mean,
basically by paying Reed, and if in theory Cooper moved, which I don't know if he will, I don't think he will, but maybe he will full time. You're giving up on one of those assets, a second, a third. It's not going to be Cooper DeJean.
Well, I'll say this, you know, behind the scenes, it's pretty clear the Eagles want to sign him. Now, there's always this is always a two-way street.
Right.
Now, by the Eagles wanting to sign him, the Eagles might be lowballing him. And he might say, you know what? I think I'm going to play again. I'm going to be on a very good team with a very good defense. And I'm going to play well, and I'm going to earn my money. So I think I think people just think it's simple. And the Eagles declare, and again, we talked a lot about Milton yesterday. They were trying to sign Milton, trust me, but they were trying to get him at a good team-friendly price. And he said, I'm going to play a lot. I'm going to play well. And I'm going to get a big contract.
Exactly.
So it's a two-way street. And maybe Reed's in that category.
Any idea where you think that number might be from an Eagles perspective, like where they might top? I mean, I know we floated like a 15 million number earlier.
Well, no, the Eagles aren't paying him 15. I brought that up because
I know, but based on the salaries around the league, I know why you brought that up.
Yeah,
but that feels way too rich for me.
That's the problem because
right.
Cam Bynum is the guy using an example. He's a pretty good player, but he's got some deficiencies. I think Reed is a much better overall player. And he got 15 million a year. And if I'm Reed Blankenship, I'm saying, come on. And the Eagles, I'm sure, are trying to get him at 9 or 10 or something like that. And that's why I say it's not as easy as just snapping your fingers and getting it done. So the fact that it isn't done may have just as much to do with Reed Blankenship as it has to do with the Eagles.
We'll see what shakes out with Reed Blankenship. Johnny Mac, keep rolling along. We mentioned the safeties, mentioned the cornerbacks. Adoree Jackson got more reps today at the first team than Keely Ringo. I think John put it at 60-40, so we'll keep monitoring that. John, did Adoree get the first rep again, and he moved to 6-4 in the
Yeah.
Okay, so he got the first rep. So that's 6-4 in that battle through 10 practices. John, moving up to the linebackers, how did our boy Jahad Campbell look today?
Little bit concerning from the standpoint of they keep giving Small Munden coverage snaps. Now, and I say the only reason I say it's concerning is because that's what's going on right now. The minute Zach Bond gets back, that all shuts it all down. So then you have no issues whatsoever. But I do think it's notable that Small's getting a lot of coverage reps, and he seems to be ahead from that perspective. He had a great rep against Saquon. He was just in his hip pocket the whole way, which is always pretty impressive when a linebacker can keep up.
Yeah. Clearly seems like he's showing some good signs, John. Now, obviously, he has some polish to put on, but it feels like he's showing some good things in camp for a rookie out there.
Yeah, and he's very, people talk about Campbell's length. Small's very long too. So obviously Jahad's
got the playing time, John, for Smile, right? I mean, if he's that good in coverage.
Well, again, when Bond's back, it's not an issue, but
right.
For now it's Trotter and Campbell are the starters, and Smile kind of mixes in usually when it's coverage related. 7-on-7, some like today was the red zone stuff. He was playing most of the first team snaps in red zone, Smile, for that reason. And plus the big blitz was Smile and Trotter, not Campbell.
Right.
So yeah, that to me is a little bit concerning, but again, Vic mentioned they're putting a lot on his plate. They don't practice enough. And he's, maybe swimming a little bit. Because they're trying to get him up to speed as an edge rusher as well.
Right.
And, inside linebacker, Vic says, is the toughest position to learn the scheme. But you have to give Smile credit at least as a coverage player.
Yeah, we'll see how that shakes out. Good to have a lot of these linebackers, though, playing good. Trotter having a good camp. Munden making some signs. Jahad Campbell
still wants Zach Bond back.
Oh, no doubt about that. No doubt about that. But it is good to have a lot of these guys, playing. That might be part of the Fangio effect, right? He loves linebackers. So he shows up and all of a sudden we got an abundance of joy, abundance of players at linebackers. Good stuff there.
By the way, I should mention that too. I don't know. For some reason, there were a bunch of fans losing their mind today because Zach's been out for a while. He hasn't been practicing, a little bit of a back thing, and AJ's obviously out with a hamstring. So those guys are at practice every day. They're watching. They're not rehabbing during practice. So they're just being very careful with two of their best players. If they're not 100%, they're not going to be out there. It's August 5th. So there's no concern over the injuries to Zach Bond and AJ Brown.
Yeah, good stuff there, Johnny Mac. John, moving up to the defensive line. First day without Thomas Booker. Anything noticeable in depth on the defensive line, J Mac, in the interior of the D line?
No, just it. Thomas occasionally would get, because Carter was dealing with something at the beginning of camp as well, so he would get some first team reps, especially in 50 fronts, and they didn't use much of that today because they were working on mainly with 4-man fronts, and it doesn't come into the equation as much. But it'll be interesting when they do play a little bit more base, who that rotational guy is, who they give the first opportunity. Byron Young might be that guy, but he's hurt. So, then you get down to Gabe Hall and Ty Robinson. So I got a hunch that Byron Young, if he gets back, will be more in the mix than people think.
Right.
Because he can also, he's not the Eagles don't really have a backup for Jordan Davis as a nose tackle, because it's tough to find guys that big who can move. So he was getting some nose tackle reps as a backup earlier, so he's got some versatility as well. You don't want him playing nose tackle, God forbid, but like I always go back to 2021, Javon Hargrave had to play nose tackle.
Right.
If somebody gets hurt, you might have to do it. But so he's probably more in the equation. But again, now he's got a groin injury. So if it lingers, can't make the club in the tub. So, and we know Ty's going to be here. It's just a question of how quickly they can get him up to speed.
Good stuff there, Johnny Mac. Is that going to be the battle to replace Booker? Will it be Gabe Hall and Byron Young? Is it between one of those guys?
No, I think Ty's in that. He's in it.
Well, how many will they keep? How many DTs you think they keep? 5?
I mean, they technically, they got to keep more, whatever you want to call them. And label. By the way, that was another great Vicism. Somebody asked him, because we've had this question. Do you ever envision playing 3 linebackers on the field at the same time? And what I love about Vic is he'll bandy back with a reporter, and he looked at, I forget who asked it, but he looked at him and he said, "Playing linebacker?" The labeling thing I always talk about.
Right.
3 linebackers on the field. And he said, "Playing linebacker?"
Oh, my God.
He said, "Yeah, Will, Mike, Sam." And Vic said, "No." The one word, no. It's just not the way the sport is played now.
Right.
I mean, you got a bunch of people spreading the field. You can't have 3. But what he was trying to say is, yeah, Campbell might be on the field. So if you're going to be one of those knuckleheads that say linebacker, 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 but if he's not playing linebacker and he's labeled it, that's what Vic was trying to say.
Right.
So again, you can label Cooper DeJean a cornerback, but if he's playing safety, he's playing safety. You can label Jahad Campbell a linebacker, but if he's playing edge rusher, he's playing edge rusher, or as the Eagles call it,
this
overhang.
damn labeling thing, John. It's like so far. Can we fix it? Is there any chance at fixing this or no?
No. There's no chance of fixing it. I've been trying to fix it for 15 years. But I love it when somebody like Vic just because he Vic's not a dick too. He's trying to educate. He's trying to say, guys are versatile. Guys play different positions. Just because you're a linebacker and you're on the field at the same time as two other linebackers doesn't mean you're playing linebacker. You're playing a different position. That's what he was trying to explain.
Right.
That's the only way it would happen. But technically, like later in the season, you might have Zach Bond, Jacoby Dean, and Jahad Campbell on the field together. And I guarantee you,
I love the sound of that. I don't give a shit what they're labeled, John. I
guarantee you some knucklehead Yahoo out there, they're playing 3 linebackers.
John, back to the original question.
And I will point back to Vic to say what they're doing. But I lost, tangent, but I lost
DTs. We were on the DT. How many DTs are they keeping on this team?
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to figure it out in my head. They can't keep.
I think 5. How many did they keep last year?
Well, see, the practice squad, you can keep. They're going to keep 5 or 6 when you count the practice squad in it.
Do any of these guys have a chance of getting sniped though if they get put on the practice squad?
Ty,
there's no way they're putting him on the practice squad.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's about the other guys. Yeah, you can always get sniped, but I mean, that's not that big of a deal, to be honest. But, again, the labeling. So if you look at last year, by the end of the year, the Eagles had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 defensive linemen. But that's counting Brandon Graham and Bryce Huff. So they had Thomas Booker, Carter, Davis, Ajomo, Milts. So they kept 5. And then they have a bunch of edge rushers that are called linebackers to join. But again, the labeling problem. So, I could see them keeping 4 if they're not comfortable. Mainly 5. I could see them doing the practice squad thing. Like if they feel that they can get Gabe Hall through waivers, they'll put him on the practice squad.
Right.
But if Howie gets the feel that he can't, he won't. And Young's a wild card because I got to see how long he's going to be out. But most likely 5, but there's an outside chance they use the practice squad to keep 4, and that would be the 4th guy would be Robinson, and try to do it with the practice squad.
Yeah, we'll see what ends up happening at the defensive tackle room. J-Mac, good stuff there on all the position battles. Good breakdown of day number 10 for the Philadelphia Eagles of practice, open to the media. So J-Mac was down there today for the programming update for all listening. And I want to thank everybody for being here. It's good to see everybody. Got some old friends, too, that are back in the chat tonight. HKP, I see you, brother. Thanks for being here. Always good to get everybody back as the season gets closer and closer. Programming note, 8 to 10 a.m. back for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this week. So back in our normal morning spot for the next 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So thanks, everybody, for tuning into the night show. We do appreciate that. John, last question before I take our commercial break. We hit all the battles so far. Right guard is still Tyler Steen, and it will be Tyler Steen, it looks like, at this point, correct?
Yeah, no evidence it's got. That's another guy I want to see against other competition to see if, vice versa.
Kind of a tough situation, though, because I don't think they're going to play him in the preseason.
No, but I'm mainly talking about the joint practices. I think that's going to be big. Certainly, I don't think it's going to be huge for the starters. And, obviously the the one starter you have question marks on offense is Tyler Steen. That's it, which is a pretty good position to be in.
It is. It's a great position to be in.
Because you don't worry about anybody else. But him, yeah, I mean, I think there's, you know, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to hold up. But give Stoutland the benefit of the doubt. I think he deserves it. But, you know, if you look at Cleveland, you know, Mason Graham, what is he, a top 5 pick? I don't know how he's doing, but I know he's got great athleticism. And Malik Collins, okay player, you know. See how he does against them. Hopefully they're healthy. But I think, you know, you'll be able to gauge him a lot better when Cleveland comes in.
Good stuff there. Let's get to some super chats. John, appreciate it. Good first hour. Thanks, everybody. This is an interesting one here. Let me get to it. Shoot, where did it go? Yaw says Morrow beat Landon for the sack today, not Steen. Can you confirm or deny, J-Mac?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I did see the sack, but I can't say 100% which way it was.
That would be a positive sign, but John's only got one set of eyes, and there's a lot of things happening on the field.
And you know, there's so many would-be sacks. Obviously, nobody's taking anybody to the ground, so there's a lot of. But that particular play, they did stop it, so it was a legit practice sack. But I you know, usually, because to be 100% honest in this, I've been hyper-focused on the back seven with the defense. I've been hyper-focused with the defense in general, but within the defense, because there's no uncertainty on offense, but mainly on the back seven and what's going on there. So, yeah, we don't have replays. You know, there is a video board at practice that the Eagles unveiled last year, but you know, really only the coaches can see it. So it's not, occasionally you can get a glimpse of it if you're in a perfect position, but if you miss a play, it's not like you can rewind it.
Yeah. Right.
So I haven't seen anybody describe it. But you know, I can't answer that with. Does
DJ Mac have a semi-photographic memory? It wouldn't surprise me if you said yes to that.
I have a pretty good memory. I wouldn't call it photographic.
No, all right, good stuff. Cody checks in. He says, late to the party. What's good, boys? Cody, thanks for being here, brother. Hit that like button. Appreciate the $2. Thank you, dude. Brian Pump checking in. Here we go. Fellas, enlighten me. The 26th ranked pass defense was willing to trade this guy for DT number 5. Why they trade him? This fan base says he's the end-all, be-all. Well, you can be a good player on a bad defense, but I digress. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're going to see a pretty good player on a bad defense coming in, on a bad team coming in next week. So, yes, you can be a good player. Well, I think – I don't think anybody has made him out to be the be-all, end-all. If they have, yeah, they're wrong. But, yeah, I mean, the Raiders – have been a bad team. By the way, I think they're going to get much better now that Pete Carroll's there and Geno Smith is there to calm down. And by the way, I think they're going to be better because now they have Brandon Hunt there and Anthony Patch there and John Spytek there. So I think they're going to start getting better. But yeah, I would not proclaim this player, Jakorian Bennett, as the answer to all the Eagles' cornerback problems.
No, I wouldn't either. Pom, thank you, brother. Siglord checks in. Addison suspended 3 games. J-Mac sad. I don't know why these people are obsessed with you and the Vikings, John. They all seem to think you're like a Vikings truther.
Well, I used to cover the Vikings, so I'm not. I mean, I knew he was going to get suspended 3 games. That's what the NFL does for alcohol offenses now. So, if unsurprised means sad, I guess I'm sad, but I don't give a rat's ass about Jordan Addison being on the field. I guess I'll have to throw away my Jordan Addison jersey.
We'll give it away.
I would actually because he's a very good player, by the way, but boy, he's a dummy. You know, he got in trouble the first time for driving 120 on I-94 in Minneapolis, and you know, then he was caught for drunk driving, I believe, in LA. So, I mean, that's been what the NFL has done the past couple of years. If you get an alcohol-related offense, you're going to get suspended for 3 games.
I'm going 140 to 55. What the fuck are you driving 140 miles an hour for? What?
Yeah.
What?
I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. You know, hopefully he learns from it because he is a good
track, man. You got all this money. Fucking build a track. It would cost you a couple $100,000 and save a lot of your damn earnings from your career.
And think about what happened to Henry Rudd. I mean, do you think guys would learn? And he's a good player, and he was in the line to make a lot of money. And by the way, now the guarantees in his contract are voided because of that.
Yeah.
Now, they're not going to cut him, but they could cut him if he does something stupid again. You know, if he stays, you know, on the straight and narrow here, I'm sure he'll be fine. He'll play out his rookie deal. He'll get all his money. But, and if he's, you know, he's a good player, so somebody will give him a contract, whether it's the Vikings or somebody else. But, a lot of repercussions to that, and his rookie contract is no longer fully guaranteed because it was voided by that.
That's a big one there. I didn't even realize that about the guarantees. M. Reyes checks in. What's up, Reyes? Uh-oh. J-Mac, I'm glad we both predict an Eagles repeat.
I never pick anybody to repeat because it's so hard to win, but yeah, I'm not on board with that. I don't think they'll repeat. Doesn't mean they can't. They're I would say one of the handful of legitimate contenders. But I would not bet on a repeat. It's hard to win. You got
anybody in mind that you think's gonna win it this year?
Well, I always pick Baltimore because I'm going to be right one year.
I don't know if you are or not.
I'm going to be right. The stars will align. The stars align for Andy Reid. The stars will align. Well, John's already got one, but they'll align again for Baltimore.
Rudy is our resident Cowboy fan tonight. He says my Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl.
Now, they are not going to win the Super Bowl.
Sorry, Rudy. Thanks for being here, big guy. Hit that like button. Appreciate everybody for being here tonight. Good show so far. We'll come back, close out hour number 2. We got about 50 minutes left to play. All right. And Jakorian Bennett has landed, everybody. We'll talk a little bit more about that in hour number 2. Appreciate you being here. Hit that like button.
We're going to give away the number 49 Bennett jersey. No. Let's get it out there.
Some are calling for a Moro Ajomo giveaway, John, after last night's kerfuffle.
What is the standard going to be?
I don't know. We didn't decide on that, but people were calling for a Moro Ajomo jersey giveaway.
Is it going to be first NFL sack?
I was thinking the problem with it is I don't like giving jerseys away of players that I don't know their future. Like he's probably gone in 2 years. I'd rather give away Jalen Carter, Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley. Like Saquon's already immortalized, so even if he does go by, that's always going to be a good Eagles jersey. Like I like giving away jerseys that are going to be.
I always love the Eagles fan base because and by the way, I love Moro Ajomo as a player, but when I put some blanket on stuff, cold water on stuff, and I'm not a big sack guy by any stretch. I think anybody who's watched this, but Eagles fans are obsessed by and large by sacks. They're obsessed.
That's most fans. That's not just Eagles fans, dude.
Well, this guy has no sacks in his NFL career. None. 0.
I didn't know that.
0.
But he was a 6th graded pass rusher last year.
Nada. Nada.
To your point, does it fucking matter, John?
Nada. It does to them until it doesn't.
Oh, Johnny Mac calling out the fan hypocrisy. You guys better stop. I need the fans to start clapping back at John. John and Jeff Kerr have a field day with you guys every week.
Well,
not a single one of you claps back.
One thing I've learned over the years that hypocrites do not care that they're hypocritical. So, it doesn't even matter when you point it out.
Do you think you've ever been guilty of that yourself, John?
No. I am objective as all
I'm not accusing you. I was just wondering if you think that's more of a blanket.
No.
All right, good stuff. Let's take our first commercial break. Appreciate everybody being here. Love all you guys. Hit that like button. 3 minutes. We'll be right back on Birds 365.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
The following is a real testimonial from the father of a young injured victim.
I didn't think she was going to make it.
Major Perry's daughter was the victim of a horrific accident caused by someone else's negligence.
If you don't find the right counselor, law firm that you're looking for, you will get lost in the wilderness.
Badly injured? Call the Fritz and Bianculli Law Firm at 215-458-2222 and find out why they say, "We got this."
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand.
Thank you.
We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Thrill Seekers and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Welcome back in, everybody, to a Tuesday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, Johnny Mac, John McMullen. Wrapping up day number 10 for the Eagles of practice open to the reporters today. And we're 2 days out from the first preseason game. That'll be right around 48 hours from now, 7:30 p.m. on Thursday night at 7:15 p.m. So just over 48 hours from now will be the first preseason game. And the Eagles made a little bit of news last night with a trade for cornerback Jakorian Bennett from the Vegas Raiders. And they sent DT, Thomas Booker. John, many like Thomas Booker. Were you surprised?
Booker.
Were you surprised to see him apart? I mean, I get it. Like that. It's not that surprising because he's not obviously an entrenched player. But I was a little surprised to see his name sent for Jakorian Bennett. What'd you think of that?
No, I'm not surprised because, like I said, I thought that was probably, if they were going to trade player for player, I thought that would be one of the likely positions they would take from. and you have to give up something. And I think he's a rotational player in the NFL, but I don't think he has starting upside. So that's a guy everybody likes, and you don't want to lose, but you need other things, and you take from your deeper positions when you do stuff like that. So, and obviously the Raiders had a need for what's going on there. So, in hindsight, the deal makes a lot of sense from both the Raiders' perspective. A little surprised the Eagles, went that direction more than the Raiders, simply because I thought they'd let it play out with Ringo and Dory a little bit longer before they pushed the panic button. Not that it's panic, because I don't think this is a slam dunk, upgrade. We'll have to see. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But, I still thought edge was the position more likely to be addressed. And maybe it will. There's no law that says you can't make 2 trades in August.
Yeah, I think there's one more. I don't think he's done yet. What do you think of that?
Well, I think the edge situation is the edge situation. I think it's got to get better. So, I don't know. Is there a Jakorian Bennett option on the edge? Young player who they like. I'm sure there is.
Bennett. I like Jakorian Bennett's name. I think he's got a pretty cool name, Jakorian. I like unique. You don't hear that often.
No, it is certainly a unique, but a lot of Jalix Jakorian, a lot of unique names. So, yeah, I still think they need something more on the edge. Ogbo's getting more reps. Should have mentioned that.
We have an Ogbo listener who wants the Ogbo updates in here right now.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good sign, but he's getting more reps.
Right, that's a double-edged sword, John.
Yeah, that's what you're like. He's pushing. It seems like Vic's a little bit higher on Josh Uche this week than Aziz, and maybe that changes by week, it seems. But Ogbo's getting involved now. A little disappointed. Antoine Powell-Ryland's been buried, man, so he's not, not showing up at all. Hasn't gotten off the third team. So there's a guy. The Eagles don't like to cut their picks. They might risk getting him through waivers and trying to get him on the practice squad. Now, if he shows up in the preseason and makes 2 sacks, then Howie might go, oh, somebody's gonna claim him, and it might change. But right now, it's not looking good for APR.
No, we'll see what APR can do. Hey, man, I like this one right here. Where's the guy? Boletzi says, is there a young, disgruntled edge rusher looking for a trade in the NFC East? I think there is, Boletzi, and I know a team that's got a whole lot of draft capital that could maybe go and get him. I don't know. We'll see. I don't think so, but that's pretty funny. Good stuff. John, speaking of the Jakorian Bennett trade right now, I got 2 clear losers, and we've talked about them at length. I also have a couple of winners, and we'll talk about that. But the losers are easily Keely Ringo and Adoree Jackson and this sucker. These guys had every chance for one of them to go and seize the moment, seize the job, and come into this season with some confidence and be the cornerback opposite Quinyon Mitchell. And neither of them have taken that job and grabbed the bull by the horns. And I think those are the 2 losers of the trade, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, like I said, actions speak louder than words, and they're not trading for a corner if those guys did what they were hoping they would do. So, we're 10 days in, and obviously a couple more walkthroughs in there as well.
Did it not look good at practice? I mean, you've seen 10 practices. I know, they've both been out there for basically all 10. Do they look good? Do they look all right? Is there anything you're like, yeah, they need a corner? Or are you like, oh, one of them is going to win it and they're going to be okay?
I thought they were going to be okay. My always worst case scenario was Adoree playing, and that'd be fine. Got banged up, maybe some injury issues, but I don't know if he could hold up for 17 games. But no, I thought they were going to be fine no matter who won it. And I actually thought, they might expand it to Eli Ricks because he was playing a little bit better. He took a step back today, though, I would say.
I actually think Eli Ricks could be a winner of this trade.
Yeah, I mean, it remains to be seen. Like, if it lights a fire under Caley, what's the sentiment behind it? What's the thought process behind it? Is it really here to add competition, or is it, hey, pick it up type of thing? And that will unveil itself in the coming weeks. And like I said,
I don't think it's that though. I don't think you send out the Thomas Booker defensive line depth to give Keely Ringo a kick in the ass. I think there's better ways to give Ringo a kick in the ass if you need to.
Well, I mean, I love Thomas, but to me, Thomas, you're way overselling Thomas Booker. I mean, to me, they might have said like, or we're going to cut him anyway because we want to keep. They want to keep Robinson,
right?
And if they want to keep Young, or because Young was the 70th pick in the draft, if they want to keep Young or they want to keep Gabe Hall.
Where was Young drafted? Vegas,
yeah,
Vegas.
So they might have that might have been how he's like, well, I'm gonna have to cut him anyway, so let me get something for him. So yeah, I don't think that's as big as part of this as what it means to the cornerback room. And I find it very hard to believe this guy's going to come in and compete for the starting job with this amount of time left.
I think what it shows, and this is why I say Eli Ricks is a winner of this. I think it shows, John, like the Eagles are going to put, and I feel like we always thought this, but this is definitely a solidification of that. The Eagles are going to put whoever's the best player on the field. And if Eli Ricks continues to have good camp and good practices and makes plays, he's going to be able to play his way into a position. Whereas I think maybe there was a thought process where Ricks had no chance. It was going to be Ringo or Adoree Jackson always. And I feel like this maybe opens it up at least a little bit more. Now you make it also more cloudy because there's an extra body in there, a little bit more muddy, but I felt like it opened it up a little bit for Ricks. And if he continues to play, he'll be able to play his way at least into some playing time or into the rotation.
Well, they're not going to rotate a corner.
Who's going to be the Isaiah Rodgers this year?
Well, you probably aren't going to need Isaiah Rodgers other than, it wasn't a rotation. It's like got banged up a bunch.
Right. Maintenance for your 35-year-old corner.
That's not a rotational position in big scheme. So he doesn't want to rotate corners. Now, sometimes you have to play him. You have to have good backups. Somebody gets hurt, but he's not going to rotate corners.
Isn't it fair, John, to wonder and say, why the hell wasn't Keely Ringo the Isaiah Rodgers last year? I know he was the gunner in special teams, but he couldn't even beat out Isaiah Rodgers.
Well, Isaiah was pretty good.
I know, but I'm just saying to project him now to be the starter, and he couldn't even, play his way into the backup role last year.
Well, I think they would have loved to have Isaiah Rodgers back as the starter this year, but he got too much money on the open market, and they had to go in a different direction. There's a bunch of guys that would be here if money was no object, and Isaiah is one of them. Isaiah played really well last year.
Yeah, he did.
So that's another one where I don't know if you'll be able to see this year because I have some questions if he can hold up as a legit starting corner because of the size. But, whatever he played, 400 snaps, somewhere in that range, he was very effective. Very effective. And, maybe that's this guy's role to be the third corner. But again, it's not going to be like Isaiah. I've seen a lot of people, and somebody even put on X about you and me talking about it and completely misjumbled what I said. I didn't compare him.
I probably didn't see it.
I didn't compare him to Isaiah Rodgers as a player, and Isaiah doesn't play for the millionth time slot. And I was talking, somebody had said I said he was going to play slot. No, I said the exact opposite. He's like Isaiah Rodgers, who maybe looks body type to be in the slot, but is an outside corner and played very well as an outside corner when forced into action for the Eagles to the point that he got a lot of money to be a starter this year.
John, you got to subscribe to the philosophy. People only hear about 30% of what you say, and they only consume and listen and actually comprehend.
It's not that I don't understand that. I understand that better than anyone. It's just frustrating when you say something and someone expresses it as brilliant and it's the exact opposite of what you said. And I don't want other people thinking I said that.
Right.
But I didn't say it. That's basically all it is. Because you get all these knuckleheads who, take one thing out of context and play it up for years. But whatever. Part of the gig.
Yep, no doubt. John, who else do you have in the winner column, if any, from the Jakorian Bennett trade? I got one other name that I think is in the win column for me. Does anybody come to mind for you?
Jakorian Bennett. He gets the
yeah, right. He goes from Vegas to Philly.
Yeah, he gets out of that shithole when he gets to play for Vic Fangio. So he's the big one.
Man. Yeah, Jakorian is a winner.
Now, Las Vegas is getting better. They're going to be better. They're going to be better because Pete knows what he's doing. It's not like they were a laughing stock, but Jakorian played with a laughing stock. He didn't play with Pete Carroll. So, he's a big winner. He's a big winner getting out of there.
Yeah, I got one other winner, John. I think Quignon's a small winner in this just because it's like you got one lockdown. You got one guy that you feel so damn good about. Fucking get somebody on the other side of him, for crying out loud. I got Quinyon Mitchell as a winner, all right? I don't know if you agree with that or not, but I got Quinyon.
Well, Quignon's already a winner.
Yeah, but I know that. That wasn't what I meant,
I don't think anything changes for Quinyon.
No, I didn't think anything changed, but I think it's good to get somebody or get a crop of talent around them that.
Well, that's one of the issues when when the guy was joking about repeating. I mean, I keep saying it, and Mike Gill says it, and I don't know how many people. Jeff says it. They lost a lot of fucking shit on defense. When we're just talking about Isaiah Rodgers. Isaiah Rodgers would be, no doubt about it, starting cornerback on this team.
Yeah. Maybe that's why Vic is throwing a little bit of shit in the pressers.
And that was a backup player last year. Never mind Slay.
All right, I want you to answer this comment, John. I have an idea of which way it's going to go. And it's my boy HKP. I haven't seen him in a little bit. I think he's been gone for the offseason. He's back. He says, if Fangio can turn Zach into an all-pro, imagine what he's going to do with this kid, hypothetically.
Gee, come on, dude. Are we going to use the Zach Bond for everybody? Is that real, or is it just?
That's real. I mean, I think it's real. I know this.
I mean, just because Zach Bond does something that nobody else has ever done doesn't mean it's going to happen the next year again to somebody else. And by the way, Zach deserves a lot of credit. I've had this argument with Ed Kratz, because Ed's like, he's a system linebacker. I'm like, what the fuck system is he in? He's blitzing the passer. He's a great coverage player. The fact that New Orleans couldn't recognize his ability is on New Orleans. But where Vic deserves credit is saying, oh, you know what? I think this guy can play off-ball linebacker, and put him in that position. And he helped him, don't get me wrong. But that dude's immensely talented. You don't play that way by being coached up.
Yeah, agreed. 100%. First team All-Pro. Are you fucking kidding me?
Immensely talented, making a play every stinking week. And everybody was aware he was making a play every week, and they couldn't stop him from making a play every week. Yeah, I don't think Zach, if it's possible, I don't think Zach Bond gets enough credit. Because no, they signed 12 Tamu guys, and I don't know how many are on defense. We can count them up. None of them are going to be fucking Zach Bond.
And the only one who's making some hay in training camp, John, is the guy I predicted to be the best. Josh Uche. Come on, Uche. Come on, baby. I think Uche is going to have a chance to be a guy this year.
He's not going to be fucking Zach Bond. I'll tell you that.
I'm not saying that. Listen, I knew you were going to beat up on HKP. I think he needed to get a nice warm welcome back to the JAKIB Thunder.
Well, I mean, come on. I mean, can't you just appreciate, as Nick would call it, the specialness of the season and what happened, and not assume that because Zach Bond can do it, every slapdick can do it.
I love that word, slapdick.
And I don't want to insult players, but I mean, come on. First team All-Pro, best linebacker in football, top 5 defensive player of the year. That ain't Vic. If that was Vic, he'd do it with everybody every year.
All right.
His most talented player is Jalen Carter. We always talk about. He wasn't top 5 in defensive player of the year. Zach Bond was. Zach Bond was the first team All-Pro, not Jalen Carter. Boy, he gets a lot of disrespect, Zach Bond. We talk about disrespect season.
Jeez, I don't feel like he does, but I know what you're saying in a sense that people I had one guy, John. I went live last night after the trade. I was a little punch drunk. I was live since 8 a.m. I was just like 12 hours later. I'm like still live. And I had this one comment, and I don't know if he's listening right now, but it was basically about we should have traded or we should have let Zach Bond walk and signed back Isaiah Rodgers or something. I was like, dude, that's got to be the worst comment I've read on JAKIB.
Oh my Lord! Oh my Lord! Thank God he's not the Eagles GM.
Yeah, it was a tough one. I ripped. Don't worry, I took him to you'd be proud, John. I took him to the woodshed.
By the way, free agency comes before the draft as well. So I think a lot. Whoa, you got Jahad Campbell. They didn't have Jahad Campbell back then. And by the way, if Jahad Campbell ever becomes what Zach Bond was last year, I'd be shocked. And he's a very talented player. That's how good that season.
Would you be shocked if Zach Bond ever becomes what Zach Bond was?
Yes.
That's how good he was last year.
Yes.
Now that was a career year we can agree on, Johnny Mac.
Other than Fred Warner, who does it every year.
Yeah, that's true. Well, he's a rare breed, obviously.
That was something what he did last year.
Let's get to some super chats here. Johnny Mac, JD3 checks in. Here we go. Only 2 days away.
Harrison Bryant.
Only 2 days away till the end of the false narratives. In just 2 short days, this chat will explode in realization that we have the great Harrison Bryant. You can
He's back. I like it. Where did JD take?
You can't get off the bus and then just think you can get back on the bus.
Did the antidepressants come in? You were off the Harrison Bryant bandwagon. Now you're back on it. By the way, the Eagles communication staff is evidently in on the collusion because, they put out their unofficial depth chart. He was 4th behind Kylan Granson. Poor Harrison Bryant.
Oh, he was behind Granson?
Yeah. Oh, he's behind Granson. Yeah.
Damn.
He's behind Granson. Granson's been better. Yeah, still hasn't gotten that fullback snap either. Maybe that's coming. The collusion.
All right.
Maybe that's coming.
JD3, thanks for the 10, big guy. Here's Prince checking in. He says, J-Mac, you can't say come on when you thought Saquon wouldn't be an impact player. He said, hypothetically, some of your takes are wrong too, J-Mac.
Some of my takes are wrong. I said I'm not a hypocrite.
No, he's talking about when you shit on HKP.
For what?
For the hypothetically, could Vic Fangio do something with
I don't understand the correlation of Saquon. And by the way, as I said, we had guest after guest. This is again where people hear, to your points, Andrew, people hear what they want to hear. Guest after guest after guest. When I said how many, when we gave them the same question, how many all-purpose yards, how many yards from scrimmage is Saquon going to have? And I was higher than everybody.
Yeah. Sometimes it's the way you frame it, John. Sometimes
until Ed Kratz beat me. I was higher than everybody. Everybody, all the frauds you listen to, I was higher than everybody. What I told you, and I told everybody, he's not a great receiver. He's not a natural receiver. Now, you know, the other day, Monday, he caught a ball in the middle of the field. He juggled it and brought it in, to his credit, but he doesn't have clean hands. Right.
Yeah, he
doesn't have clean hands.
Yeah.
Now, I was correct. Now, this was going on during the off season where people say, "Oh, you don't need a third receiver because you can line up Saquon in the slot." Where were you one of those, Prince? Where's that?
Everybody was all jacked up on Kellen Moore and motion and passing. And you name it.
The whole 9 yards. Now, I've said a million times, hey, Saquon did much better than I expected. You know, I was concerned because, look, I got to cover one of the greatest running backs of all time who was on some pretty shitty teams, and he looked like the greatest running back of all time, or one of them. And I said, if you're that good, it generally shows up even with a bad team. And too often with the Giants, it didn't show up. But he proved himself. And a million times over, he had one of the best seasons in NFL history. So I have no problem admitting I was wrong. But again, I said he was going to get 1,800 total yards. That's pretty fucking good. And everybody else came in lower. So maybe bet you at those people.
I don't want to speak for you, Prince, but I feel like he's trying to say odds are obviously against Jakorian Bennett having a Zach Bond.
Well, I mean,
sometimes the odds aren't right, you know, like the odds weren't that Saquon Barkley would have ran for what he did. I think that's what Prince was trying.
Wow. And by the way, well, then don't bring up Saquon, because I mean, Saquon, we all knew how good he was. It was a matter, was he just good? Was he just really good? Or was he historic? Now, he was historic last year. He was good on the Giants. He was really good on the Giants, but he wasn't great. And again, that speaks to the ultimate team game that Nick Sirianni talks about it. Yeah. I mean, Saquon will be the first one to tell you. I mean, the offensive line had a big freaking part to do with his season. And you can see the difference between the Eagles' offensive line and his performance here, and the Giants' offensive line and his performance there. So you do need help, even if you're as good as Saquon Barkley. But I was thrown by that name being put in with Jakorian Bennett.
Yeah, rightfully so.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I'd be like, and by the way, to that same, Zach Bond was the Saquon Barkley of the defense for the Eagles last season. He was their best player.
Yeah.
And by the way, he was the best player on the best defense in football. Saquon had the historic season on the 8th ranked offense in football. the defense was better than the offense.
Yeah, they were, no doubt. Jameson Smith says, J-Mac, just admit you were wrong, bro. It's okay. He kind of just did. I mean,
Yeah, well, I mean, he's $2 to troll. I'll take it, Jameson.
Chris says, J-Mac, is there any way the Eagles would sign Z Smith?
I don't think so. I think they want a younger player. Like, as I said, I think Jakorian Bennett is the type of player they want on the edge. Rookie contract, cost effective. Maybe for whatever reason, there's coaching changes all over the place. Maybe they'd like the guy in the draft and he doesn't fit with the new scheme where he is with the new coaching staff. That same thing. That's what I've been saying forever. Same thing. CJ Gardner-Johnson, final year of his rookie deal at least. That's the player they're looking for, I think.
Good
Not
stuff there.
Aging it. Although Darius Smith walks in, he's probably their second best edge rusher.
Oh, God.
Off the couch.
I think you're right, though. I don't think they're looking for that type of player at this stage. I don't. Leon checks in $2. He says, why do you think you're always right? Sills owns you.
I don't know. I just say I don't know. Yeah. A, I don't think I'm always right. B, I will say Sills can't own me. I will say that. Got to be in the building to own me. So yeah. I mean,
well, what is
I'm
that?
wrong.
What do you mean
I'm wrong all the
what do you mean
time.
be in the building? Not everybody's a credentialed reporter.
Well, I mean, you can't have an extensive knowledge of a team unless you're around the team on an everyday basis. It's not possible. So I'm not picking on them. It's not possible.
I think our viewers just like to pit you two guys together because you're two very opposite.
It's not possible. I'm not picking on Sills. It's not possible.
No, yeah, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. And I was just looking for clarity on it. Good stuff. Brian Pumper checks in. J-Mac would love Jaquaski Tart Bennett trade if his Vikings picked him up. Boy, everybody's going for Johnny Mac tonight.
I'm too busy. I'm too busy worrying about the Jordan Addison suspension. I can't worry about Jakorian Bennett to the Vikings, although they do need a corner. So maybe you're right, Pumper. But that Jordan Addison thing has me reeling, Zander. Reeling. I don't know how I'm going to recover, but
we got 15 minutes left to go on the show here tonight. All right, the big trade happened yesterday. I don't know if you want to call it big or not, but they made a trade, and it was a fun thing to react to. John, your morning segment was crushing on the YouTube channel, which is always a good thing. So thanks everybody for watching that. Everybody wants to hear Johnny Mac's opinion about it, so that's always a good thing. And again, I think Ringo, John, the biggest loser here. I thought it was Adoree originally, but I've revised mine to think it's actually Ringo because it was always Ringo's job to win in the first place. And when you bring in a corner, I feel like it would be more of a. It says more about Ringo than it does about Adoree, despite Adoree now having a bleak outlook with this team.
I don't, Adoree's in a position where he could be the starter week 1 or he could be out of here. Like I said, right now, today, he is, if they were playing Dallas tomorrow, he'd be the starting corner opposite Quinyon Mitchell. Firmly believe that. Now it's August 5th. It's not September 4th. So, if this lights a fire under Kelly Ringo's butt, if, Nick was talking about competition, that's what he was talking about.
Isn't that kind of gimmicky though, John? Like you always talk about that. Fuck me. I hate gimmicks.
Well, it's not competition's not a gimmick.
No, not competition.
I mean, because I phrased it. Maybe I shouldn't phrase it like that. So I'll just use the term competition.
Yeah.
Competition brings out the best in our guys, is what Nick Sirianni said.
Right,
so if competition brings out the best in Kelly Ringo, and he takes off from here, Adoree might be out of here because they'll want to keep probably
The reason I said that is like, it's the old adage, like discipline over motivation, right? Motivation comes and goes. Discipline keeps you going even when you don't want to do it. I don't want Keely Ringo to only grind and work his butt off, when they bring in a player. I want him to be somewhat self-motivated to be able to do what he has to do to be a competent player.
Well, competition is something that helps certain people and probably won't help others. So, I mean, if you think about the way the Eagles' best players go about it, they all embrace competition. And maybe if you can't, maybe that unveils the character flaw. So however you want to frame that. But Dory Jackson's their best corner outside of Quinyon Mitchell right now.
All right. How many corners do you think they're going to end up keeping?
6.
So we got Quinyon, Coop, Keely, Adoree.
McWilliams is going to make it.
McWilliams would be 5, and then Bennett 6.
Yeah.
Maybe Eli Ricks is a loser from this trade.
Well, no, I don't. I think Eli's going to be here. That's what I'm saying.
Well, how are they going to keep him?
Well, if
Jakorian
Bennett shits the bed, if he's hurt again, he's dislocated his shoulder 5 times. If he gets hurt,
yeah, right. And he got a big tackling problem, John. So that's like his knock is that he can't tackle and he's got shoulder issues.
Or if he plays well, then I think Adoree might be the odd man out. So Adoree could go from 2 on the depth chart to 7, like that. But he won't be the 7th best corner.
Yeah, right.
But there's certain guys that they're going to keep.
You talk about it all the time.
Yeah. So, but right now he's their second. But right now, today, he's their second best corner, which is probably not going to make people comfortable, or maybe it does. I don't know.
Good stuff. We got a couple more super chats. Got about 12 minutes left to go. Big thanks to everybody for all the super chats tonight. It's been a good support of the night show tonight. Remember, guys, we're back 8 to 10 a.m. tomorrow, Thursday, Friday. All right. So all of you here, I expect to see you in the morning. Good stuff there. But Devin says Big Sills ain't even in the room. J-Mac is elite. I mean, no talk show host is in the room unless you're WIP and you're paying the Eagles $10 million a year. That's kind of how it works. But, different situations there. But again, appreciate the $5.
Well, no, I'm not picking on Silver.
No, I know you're not. I'm saying to them. That's completely different.
By the way, the WIP who are paying $10 million a year, their hosts don't know shit either. They don't come down.
I know, but they're for
they don't know. They don't know shit. They get to interview somebody occasionally because they pay $10 million a year, but they're not telling them anything. They're not giving them any. They don't know shit. That's for if the McLeans, the Bermans, the people that are there every day. Those are the people that know what's going. You don't have to listen to me. I don't care, but you better be listening to one of them if you want to know what's going on. Excuse me, with the Eagles. If you're listening to insert name who never sets foot in the building, guess what? He doesn't know what's going on in the building.
Good stuff. Let's go to James Carver checking in. What's up, James? Good to see you in here, brother. Member for 13 months. Thank you, man. He says, briefly available. Had to hop on finally. Hope you're enjoying my longtime man, JD, finally having his coming out party. Now Anais Smith is next. I don't know, Carver.
James, no, he's going to make the team.
Coming out and making the team is different than having a coming out party.
It's interesting to me because the Eagles, James, they're fired up about Anais Smith coming out this year. They found his stress fracture in his shin at the combine last year, and he wasn't healthy in the offseason. And then he got to training camp and he started dropping the football. And he lost his confidence. And he didn't deserve to make the team last year, but they kept him around because they don't like cutting draft picks. and he's been a lot better. He's going to be I think he's going to be the punt returner. But he's still not doing great as a receiver, though. You know, and they like him as a gadget guy, manufactured touch guy as well. But
seems like AJ likes him. Doesn't AJ like Anias too?
No, I mean,
no. I thought I heard him comment that Anias Smith was.
Well, he's always going to praise his teammates in public, but you know, look. The fourth best receiver on this team is probably Elijah Cooks, and the fifth best is Terrace Marshall, who was back at practice. I should have mentioned finally. But again, Terrace doesn't play special teams at all. Elijah is trying to play special teams, so maybe that can factor in.
So
I think they're going to keep Anias and Johnny Wilson again.
You do. So I think because what's one of my boys, John, the guy Gary Dirty Air in our chat. I
saw him at practice today.
Oh, did he come up and say hi to you? I was going to text him and ask.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, he sent me to NASCAR, but he sent me a video today of Johnny Wilson just completely dropping a pass, and he's like, "This dude stinks." And he said Elijah Cooks looks a lot better. Now that's just one guy, but if they're similar,
well, no, he's a better receiver.
Yeah, why not keep him?
Well, I'll tell you what. They threw a swing pass to A.J. Dillon that would have went for about 5 yards. That went for 20 because Johnny Wilson walled off Jelix Hunt, a defensive end. I realize nobody cares when it comes to blocking, but he's like Zach Pascal. He's not. Yeah, he ain't the run-of-the-mill good blocking wide receiver. He's a different animal. And because if they played a different style of offense, I'd say he's out the door tomorrow. But he's valuable to them because he is legitimately a big-time blocker.
Yeah, he can't catch a pass. Just don't throw him the damn ball. Brian Pumper checks in. He says, J-Mac, say some good things about Project 89. This dude is a bona fide specimen. What is up with the trolls tonight, John? The trolls are out tonight, man.
I don't care. You know, they feel they're wrong so much. They like to jump on. I don't know.
Good little subtle shot. Do you disagree? He's a bona fide specimen. I would disagree with that characterization.
What is that pumper definition as a physical? He's pretty impressive specimen. As a football player, not so much. He's a one-trick pony. Zach Pascal made a lot of money being a one-trick pony. Stuck around a long time.
That's true. I like Zach Pascal. He played with some heart. I like the way he played the game, Zach Pascal. I liked him. John, last couple questions here as we have 5 minutes left to go on the show. Appreciate everybody being here. Hit that like button for us. Thank you all very much. Big super chat. We'll get to that in just a second, James Carver. Thank you, dude. Appreciate it very much. Last question here, John. Would you have made the deal that they made sending Thomas Booker for Jakorian Bennett?
Well, I don't know enough about Jakorian Bennett, and that's similar to what I was saying about it. I'm not in the Raiders building, so I don't know that much about the Raiders. So I'll see in the coming weeks how he plays. But again, I've said pretty consistently for people when I'm talking about summer trades and how his history, and he's made a player trade, got a player, and this will be the 5th straight year. If there was a position they were going to trade from, defensive tackle was going to be one of the top candidates because they had a bunch of players they think can play on the back end of the roster. So no, it doesn't surprise me whether it works out. That's up to Bennett. Who knows? I do know he's got a lot of shoulder issues. That scares me.
Yeah, he does, man.
But I think Thomas is a good player. And like I said, if they're playing, I've said it a couple of times. If they're playing Dallas, I've said it with Adoree. If they're playing Dallas, yet tomorrow he would have been, well, now he got traded, but you get my point. He would have been the 4th defensive tackle. So I'm not saying he's slightly ahead of, Byron Young and Gabe Hall and Ty Robinson, but it's not that much difference to where if you think you can get something that you're not comfortable with the other guys.
Right. Let's see how it all shakes out. James Carver, man, $50 banger. Thank you so much, brother. We appreciate the support. There's a lot of people in here who maybe are newer to the channel or newer to the viewership. James is an OG. All right. James been here a long time. James is one of, and I love James for a personal reason, because when I first started hosting this show, James was one of my biggest supporters. So, James, thank you, man. I appreciate that very much. He says, no need to read. We'll always read it. Just to thank you. This is just for having to miss the last few months with my health and Guinness. Have a great night, J-Mac and my brother, Big Xander. See y'all sometime soon. James, thank you, man. I appreciate that very much. And I hope everything's going well with you. I know you had a lot of stuff going on with the knee and stuff, so I hope that's healing up, James. I'll reach out to you on X, brother. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that very much. Very cool of James Carver. John, you remember James Carver, right, from last time?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Glad to see him back. Didn't know he was having some health issues. So I hope you're doing well, James. Good to see you back. Hope to see you more.
And John, you're a dog guy. You'll appreciate it. Guinness is his dog, so he takes care of his dog Guinness, who had some, I think, health issues as well. So he's been taking care of his buddy Guinness.
Yeah, love dogs. So the quickest way to my heart.
Yeah, right. I saw you tweet a picture of the Reggie, the Eagles dog down there. Is that Jeffrey Lurie's actual dog, or is that
yes. There's two. I forget the name of the other one, but there's two. But Reggie is. They put him in the media guide. He is the director of joy. He's got an actual job title.
Yeah, I like
Eagles
it.
director.
That's a good name for it. Director of joy. I love it. Good stuff. Good stuff. One more super chat, and then we'll close up the show. Balenci says, all pro Q. I'm claiming it now. I don't think you're far off, man. The only thing I think that could stop Q would be, will he not get the love because he's not playing press cover? Press man, playing press. Man
I think it wouldn't surprise me at all. I think he could be an all pro. I think a lot of that, and again, there's 50 of us who vote on that. And I guarantee if he has a good season, I'll be voting for him. But, a lot of people look at interceptions. So, a lot of people, you got to have a number of interceptions. And sometimes it's a bad thing because you're getting targeted too much. So there's a lot of political stuff to that. But he's going to be a very good player. And he's looked. He obviously had a great season last year as a rookie, but he's looked so much better this summer. He's really making things difficult on A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Devontae talked about that today. And those are two really good players. So when I always say the context, A.J. and Devontae tend to beat up on everybody else. They don't beat up on Quinion. They beat him. But he beats them sometimes, and there's a good back and forth. He's a really good player. Really good player.
Yeah, no doubt. Good stuff, Balenci. Thanks for the super chat, brother. Appreciate it. Johnny Mac, great show tonight, man. Your final thoughts here, wrapping up the show. Big trade for Jakorian Bennett. And we're 2 days out now from the first preseason game. We'll be back in our normal 8 a.m. spot. So 12 hours from now, we'll be talking Johnny Mac.
Yeah. You know what was nice? The trade got most people off who's playing in the preseason conference. I thought we were going to have a bunch of that. So thank you to Jakorian Bennett. Thank you to Howie Roseman for making that trade, because that saved me a couple eye rolls. He did get the one question, and Nick answered it how you would expect. We'll see. That type of thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, but if anybody does play, and there'll be a bunch of defensive players competing that are going to play, but if anybody on the offensive substance plays, make sure you're ready, because they're not going to be in there for a long time.
Yep, no doubt. Johnny Mac, great show tonight, brother. Catch you in the morning.
All right, thanks everybody.
All right, thanks, J-Mac. There's Johnny Mac, John McMullen joining us here on Birds 365. Great show tonight. All right, good show. We've had a good couple of days of night shows, which is always good because obviously the viewership is tougher. Everybody's used to our morning slot. Somebody just requested, can we do night shows all the time? I'm not doing it because the numbers aren't as good. All right. So I'm a numbers guy. All right. I got to manage the numbers, the money, the finances, everything that goes on JAKIB. So I'm making sure we go live in the morning if that's when the numbers dictate. All right. If that's when we dictate, if that's what the numbers dictate. What are the current Philly streams, Pumper? Who are they? I don't even know who does it, honestly. JAKIB, take over all Philly sport. You want me to go live on everything, Twiz? I need more manpower, brother. I need more manpower. You know? Brandon, you proved the point of the show today that people listen to about 10%. I've said 5 times that we're back in the morning tomorrow. Brandon, are you trolling me, Brandon? Are you continuing tonight's streak of trolls? Are you kidding me? I missed the super. Did J-Mac rip me hard? He didn't rip you that hard, JD. I think he kind of respected that you went back to Harrison. I think he kind of respected it, actually. Manage that vet money, Z. Don't worry, Jeremy. I got it all straightened out. Thanks, big dog. You know, you buy a car, everybody's in your pockets. It's like, holy fuck. Yo, I got it. Thanks, big cat. Appreciate you. I know you're just messing, Jeremy. I'm messing. I'm just messing with you. Big Z at it all day. I know, Papar. I kind of love it, though. It's all good, man. It's all good. You live streaming Thursday's game. Leon, I'll probably do something. I was thinking of doing definitely a before and after with John. But I could probably do a stream during the game. I don't know. Do you really want to watch 4 stringers with me, Leon? Do you really love me that much? You want to load me up and listen to me ramble for 4 hours while a bunch of fucking scrubs hit the football field? I don't know. I don't know, man. You let me know, Leon. I know you'll want to hear me. He says that'd be fun. I like streams. It's fun to talk shop. No doubt. No doubt. That white Corvette, Xander got an all whites fire. Thanks, Kill Duff. Appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it. Jeremy, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I love it, too. I've been loving it. It's been a lot of fun, that car. I'm most excited because it's become a business venture. Prince, you got the. I think Prince. Anybody a business owner in the chat? I know we got to have some, right? I know we got to have some business owners in the chat. I think Prince is a business owner. Prince. I'm guessing by the way you understand, finances and money and some of that shit. Yeah, I knew you were, Prince. Jack, I knew you were. That's right, Jack. I knew you were. Dio, are you? Nice, Dio. You got to let me know what you do. I work for the man, Leon. Leon, that's all right, brother. You got to do what you got to do, brother. Hey, listen, keep your head high always, no matter what you do. All right? Not everybody is, I always try and say, don't compare, I don't like when people compare. Don't compare. Everybody's on their own timeline, doing their own thing for an own reason, for its own purpose, right? This is always the life I was going to be living, one way or another. I was never working. Last time I worked for somebody was when I was 17. 17, was I 17? How old are you when you go to college? 18? 18, right? I think 18, right? Yeah, 18 when you go to college. I don't know. I didn't finish college. You guys know how it goes. All right. The last job I worked I was a barback. That was a fun job. I was a fucking machine at barback. The manager of the restaurant, I was working at the Windrift in Avalon down the shore in the summer. All right. The manager, I'll never forget this, Pete. He called me over and he's like, now how am I supposed to replace a barback that handled 4 of my 5 bars better than the people who handle 1 bar at a time? And I'm like, Pete, I appreciate the words. This is the last time I'm ever going to work for somebody. All right. And then he let me bartend for about a month and I was out of there. He let me bartend for a month because I had like the certification or whatever you need in New Jersey. And I was out of there. I dropped out of college nicely on me too, dude. I didn't finish. I didn't finish. I went into my own business. Did decent. I lived in Houston. Not decent. I was broke. I mean, I told you guys this story already. I think I made $1,500 a month. I was 20 years old. I left college. I think I made $1,500 a month. And my rent was split. I lived with my brother. We split the rent. The rent was like $1,975, I think. So my rent was like $990 or whatever it shakes out to be. And then I had about $500 left over. And that doesn't go very far. So I accrued debt living there. like just from working, just from living. Probably accrued debt for, I don't know, 9 to 12 months straight, credit card debt. Yep. And then when I pivoted from there, that's when I really took over. I've managed this channel since it started. And that's what, a lot of people think it's, my dad didn't really, we worked together, but my dad was radio and I was the digital side of it. So, and this has become my baby, and it's been good, man. It's had a lot of success. It's had a lot of ups and downs, a lot of learning curves, a lot of experiences you go through, and you learn a lot about people. You learn a lot about business. You learn a lot about money. You learn a lot about sales. You learn a lot about everything when you run a business. That's one thing I love about it, man. One thing I love about it. So no doubt. Bird Gang says, I'm about to roll one more for my birthday and enjoy the rest of my night. Listen, Bird Gang girl, you sit back, you kick your feet up. It's your night. All right. You enjoy it. Relax. No doubt. Matt Diaz says, farming shellfish, rental properties, and trying to do a consulting revenue stream. Very nice, Dio. Love it, man. Good stuff. Good stuff. Rental properties are always a good biz. Rental properties are always a good biz. That's probably what I'll move. I'd like to acquire some rental properties, but right now I'm loving what I'm doing in terms of YouTube. I mean, it's taken me 5 years to get to the knowledge that I have on YouTube. This is my favorite thing about my Corvette. People, oh, you just bought a nice car. It's a business thing for me. I mean, I bought that as a business. You monetize the channel. Now everything I put on that car, every upgrade, every dollar of gas, everything is now completely for the business. It's 100% write-off. But it's a much different style of content, but I've really loved to do it because, I've always had so much knowledge of YouTube, but JAKIB is a very structured style of content on YouTube. It's probably, I would say it's not your traditional style of YouTube channel. We're more of a volume YouTube channel, right? Like I don't make my hay on 100,000 view videos. I make my hay on 6 hours of content live per day and 4 or 5 clips of the shows per day. Like that's the bread and butter of the channel, right? My other channel is like maybe one video every 3 days, and it's a different style. But I got to say, I love it, man. I love it. I definitely love it, no doubt. And I'm pretty happy. I mean, I don't want to be prideful, but I was very excited about getting that channel monetized, because for anybody that's ever been in the YouTube space or has tried YouTube channel or whatever, has tried to make content, it's a very hard thing to do. It's not as easy as it looks. Just in terms of getting started, and getting an audience, it's really a hard thing to do. So, now I got a monetized YouTube. I got my ZK's Garage officially monetized, which you got to get 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subscribers. So 4,000 watch hours is a lot when you first start. It's a lot when you first start. But just for example, I have the JAKIB analytics up right now. I like giving you guys, and I don't know if you guys care or not. Some people don't care, but I like talking to you guys about the back end. It's a fun thing. The amount of watch hours that JAKIB gets is really tremendous, to be honest with you guys. So JAKIB has gotten, I don't know why it's not loading. Is my internet okay right now? Am I streaming okay? I don't know why my internet's. Yeah, so JAKIB had 3.4 million watch hours in the last 365 days. So 3.4 million watch hours in the last 365 for JAKIB Sports. So this is why, and I get it. The viewers are only going to understand what the viewers know. But, there's other channels out there that get more views per video, or they get, a lot of subscribers really quickly. Watch hours are really where you make money. Like I make money. The JAKIB channel is a high earning channel. The JAKIB channel earns probably more than most channels that have, 150,000 subscribers. Because there's so much volume of content, so many ads that run, so many super chats are a big thing. That's why I always thank you guys for the super chats. They go a big part in helping keep us on the air. Obviously, I pay John and Celia. They're private contractors. They're paid contractors for our network. So, got to keep the lights on, obviously. But 3.4 million watch hours is a lot. Is a lot. So 4,000 to me sounded like nothing. But you do read stories, man. I was on the YouTube. This YouTube forum, just reading about it. And, people try and get monetized for months, years. One dude was like, I finally got monetized after 14 months. I'm like, dang, I got my Corvette 1 month ago. My channel's monetized. I started making content on it 1 month ago. So I'm pretty happy about it. I'm pretty happy about it for sure. And I love this stuff. For anybody, does anybody watch my content over there? It's a way different than what I do here. Way different, but I love it. I got to be honest. I do love it. I do love it for sure. Dio, that's a good idea. My first business was a rental property in Denver. We bought a duplex as our first house while we were still used to living in apartments. There you go. I need a house, dude. I can't. That's a problem. I'd love to. I'm going to buy a rental unit for sure, but I'm not. I need a home. I need a home. I need a big garage, and I need that. I'm for sure. We love it here. Thanks, Bird Gang Girl. I love you guys too, man. You guys are seriously my friends. I love it. I love talking to you guys every day. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Leon says, you think you can get Sal Pal on with Sills or maybe John Clark with you guys on Birds? I feel you and John Clark and Sal Pal would vibe well. I can get Sal. The problem with Sal, Leon, is he wants to get paid every time he comes on. So if Sal does a guest appearance on somewhere, he's getting paid for it. Now, I got no problem with that, but it doesn't typically fit into my business model. That's all. I can't pay for guests. I can't get into paying for guests. There's, then you're cutting into your margins. You're cutting into the, what it costs to run the business and everything like that. So yeah, Pat pays Sal. Yeah. But they've been doing that for 15 years together. So it's kind of a different setup with those two. I don't want to say Sal's a part owner of it, but like, it's kind of it's worked into Pat's model. I got some update on Pat Callahan. He'll be back for sure, but just keep Pat Callahan in your prayers right now. All right, that's the one thing I'll ask. I'm gonna wait to disclose everything on that front, but very sad about Pat, man. Keep Pat in your prayers. All right. Skill says, can you help me get started on my own page? I would love to do it, man, but I'm just too busy, bro. I'm too busy, man. I literally sit in this office. I start sitting in this chair at 6:30 in the morning, and I don't get up until 10 o'clock at night. I really don't. So, I'm just too busy, bro. I can't take that type of work on at this point. You see it? I didn't, Abe. I didn't see where you sent it, bro. So, a broken crayon still color. I don't know who you're talking to there. Yeah, definitely give up some prayers for Pat, guys. He's battling right now. So I'll give you guys the full scoop on that. But now I don't want you, bro. Dio, I like space, bro. I'm not. Listen. I'm not. It's a very good business model to be able to live in the unit and rent out the rest. They pay for your rent. They pay down your mortgage. You got money coming in. I get it. Believe me, it's a great business model. I simply cannot live with people breathing down my neck. I need space. I want land. I want garage. I want space. I can't do it. I'd rather make money in other ways, man. I'd rather make money in other ways for sure. So Xander won't help you. Bruce, come on, man. That's a shitty comment. It is a dog-eat-dog world, but I don't have that mentality about fucking that comment. But all right, everybody, good show tonight. Nah, I'm not single with Nagin. I might be getting married soon, brother. So we'll see how it all shakes out. But I love my girl, man. Every real man knows the best superpower in life is to find a woman that supports you and pushes you and sees your vision, lets you be a man. I think is most important, especially for someone like me. I have way too much testosterone to have a woman that's trying to castrate me all day. I see that a lot. That's not me. That's not me at all. So I got an amazing woman. Amazing woman. She's been my biggest superpower easily, brother. Easily. I went into a new gear when my girl got on my when she understood what I was building, So it's a big thing for me. Keith says prenup. Come on, Keith. Keith, are you calm down now, Keith? Are you calm down now, Keith? Me and Keith have been going at each other the last couple of days. Bruce says, don't get married. I'm not doing that, Bruce. Bruce, look into the numbers, man. I know everybody's everybody gets divorced. Women take you to the cleaners. Just get it. How about you just be a man and know what kind of woman you're marrying? The only guys who get taken to the cleaners by chicks are dudes who have no freaking clue what the heck they're doing when it comes to settling down with a woman. We can't have you lose Jacob. Why would I ever lose Jacob? I would never lose Jacob, bro. Would never happen. All right. D Rose says the best superpower is parents with money. Well, are you? I'm assuming you're assuming my parents have a lot of money. I don't come from that much money, bro. I mean, I don't. I'm not going to sit here and try and tell you that I grew up in poverty. I didn't. My dad grew. I already told this story. My dad grew up in the projects. His dad walked out of the house at 6 years old. When my dad was 6 or 7 years old, my dad was delivering papers the next morning. All right, paying for his mother, who died of a heart attack at 65 because she worked in a factory her whole life, lived in the projects. He was delivering papers to pay for the bills in their house. So my dad came from nothing, absolutely nothing. And that's why he always says to me that money is good. Don't get me wrong. You need money, but like, bro, we won. Like, we got a beautiful family. We're healthy. Like, we won. I promise you we won. I promise you it could be worse. So I don't come from a lot of money though, dude. Like, I'm not, my parents don't give me any money. I've never had a credit card from my parents. Like, I don't know why it's so funny how that has become such like a thing. All my biggest haters, that's like their number one thing they say to me. You're a Nepo. I'm like, I don't think you know what a fucking Nepo means. And also, this is the other thing. We just talked about having kids, right? Or having a woman or whatever. If you have kids, is your goal, D Rose, to just like, all right, I don't want to help you at all. Like, I want a lot of kids in life. You know what I want to do? I want to become successful so that my kids have the opportunities that I didn't, and have the best opportunity to thrive and be successful and chart their own path in life. I mean, come on, man. You shouldn't look at that with disdain. You should look at that with respect. That's a good thing. All right. You should want to work for, you should want to help your name. I mean, shit, I carry my name. My kids are going to carry my name. Obviously, I want to do things that increase their chances at success. I've always had such a funny thought. I've always thought that was such a funny thought process of just like, yeah, your dad does things for you. It's like, sorry, my dad works hard. Like, sorry, my dad like gave fucking everything, and sacrificed everything to do what he could for his kids. All right, D-Rose, I can see how much disdain you hold in your heart, man. This guy says it's better call yourself a third baseman. Okay, D-Rose. Yeah, I know. Fredo says, Xander, just make sure you put money over a lot of things. They said money isn't everything, but you need money to make sure people can't kick you out or you're not struggling. Money will keep Fredo, believe me, I know that, brother. All right. I think I know that, believe me. I always said money's not everything, but money is everything in a way. In other words, if you want to do good things in life, you can't really do it without money. Money gives you a position of power in life to be able to. Now, the one thing I think that people say about money all the time is true is that, money doesn't change the man. Like the man is who the man is. Money just shows who he is, So it's a tool, Jack. That's always how I viewed it, brother. It's a tool, man. It's a tool. Chris says, you might have to start another channel. Shit. A motivation channel. I think you got a real positive outlook on life. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. All right. I get it, Curtis. Believe me. It's a resource, though, for sure. But it is. I know what you mean. I mean, I know what it is. Especially, we just talked about kids, Curtis. You got kids. You got stress. You got bills to pay. You got to keep the water. You got to keep the lights on. You got to keep the mortgage paying. I get it. Believe me. You got to keep them fed. I get it, Curtis. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to sound like I don't understand that side of it. I definitely understand that. Keith says, it's such a goofy ass mentality. Why would you want your kids to be broke? I don't know, Keith. I think misery loves company. And I think people, grow up and it's almost like a hatred toward the world. It's like, they don't think they were given enough, or they don't, they didn't create enough opportunity in their life. And then they hold like that. They hold that against everybody else. Look at Prince. What the fuck is this? Therapy? Prince, you can leave, dickhead. Prince, ain't nobody begging you to be here. Ain't nobody begging you to be here. But I do love what I do, which is a good thing. So, all right, I'm out of here. Good show. Good day of content. I got some work. I got to make sure. Did I pull this segment? Let me make sure I pulled the segment. Yeah, I did. I pulled the opening segment. So John gave a good breakdown, all right, of day 10 of today. I appreciate that. Appreciate the conversation. A lot of trolls today in the super chats, though. All right, I will say that. A lot of freaking trolls in the super chats today, but we had a lot of them, which is a big thanks. So thank you all for that. All right, good super chat numbers today. So thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. You can thank Prince. We're ending the show because Prince had a cry about me rambling about something that wasn't the Philadelphia Eagles. Prince, go check out ZK's Garage. I think you'll like it, dude. I think you'll like it. Fredo says, good thing is, Aaron, the way you grind, you should never be broke. Fredo, I told you I've been out on my own since 17, and well before that, I've told you guys my high school stories. Listen, I've always been able to come up with $1. All right. I've always been able to have a couple dollars in my pocket. All right. So I will continue to grind, and I wish great success on all of you. I really do. I wish whatever that looks like for you. And maybe it's not money. Maybe it's something else. But I hope you all achieve those things. It's been great talking with you tonight. I love kicking around with the great people of JAKIB Nation. I think that's part of what makes this a special place to be. I know Prince said, what is this, therapy? But again, you guys just said it, and I agree with you. It's a different channel. It's a different type of channel. And I love having these conversations with you. I love getting to know my audience more and relating with you guys. So it does feel like a family, and I think these conversations help that. So big thanks to each and every one of you. If you're looking for more content after this, head on over to ZK's Garage and check out my car content. Let me know what you think. All right. I dropped a new video last night. So let me know what you think. It's me in a new light for sure. It's definitely me in a new light. All right. So appreciate it, man, very much. Curtis, thank you, brother. Jack, thank you. Prince, I love you, brother. Keese, thank you, bro. Dullahan, Twiz is in here. Twiz, one of my best supporters. Twiz, love you, brother. You've been supporting me for a long freaking time, bro. Thank you, man. And all you guys, Alfredo, Devin, anybody I missed. Jack Straw says good night, everyone. Thank you, Jack. Appreciate the super chat, brother. Love all you guys. Alfredo says, Z, what garage? All right, I got to keep it. I got to put it in here. Let me put it in here. Before I go, let me put it in here. Let me put it in. Let me put it in. All right, there we go. All right, thanks, everybody. Pumper says, I need that GMC Sierra Denali content. Pump, I sold that thing in 4 months. I think I sold it on Facebook Marketplace, dude. No, it was Auto Trader. Auto Trader's where I got the hit. Guy flew in to pick that thing up. A guy flew in from Illinois to get that thing, dude. A guy flew in from Illinois to pick that sucker up. Listen, Pump, I'm in the market for a truck, though, so maybe GMC is the way to go. We'll see. We'll see. I didn't love that Denali, that dude. I really didn't. I didn't love it. It just didn't drive good. Chintzy interior, clunky as hell. My girl, everybody got sick in it. My mom got sick. She rode it once. She got sick. My girl was sick every time we drove it. I'm like, I'm fucking out on this thing. Got back in my Ram 1500. I love my Ram. I miss my Ram. I miss my freaking Ram. But all right, love all you guys. Thanks for all the great content tonight. Thanks for chatting around with me. Thanks for listening to me ramble on. Appreciate all you guys. See you next time, everybody.
You've been listening to Birds 365, the destination for the passionate Eagles football fan who bleeds green. If it's Eagles football, we're talking about it. Debate, inside the locker room, and guests that are some of the greatest football minds from around the region. We hope you enjoyed the show. We know we had a blast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hook up with us on social media at JAKIB Sports. See you next time on Birds 365.